Hey, what's going on, sports fans? This is Sean with Boxing and Basketball, back with my co-host Matthew Rayner. How's it going, Matthew?
Going real good. I rushed home as fast as I can. I was dangerous on the highway, going about 120 to get back here so I could talk hoops with you.
Ooh, what you think? You on the Autobahn back in Germany?
Yeah, hey, that's how important this is to my Thursday. I had to get here.
All right, first of all, we want to thank everybody, man, that's supporting us. We're still growing, we're getting better. Y'all adding your comments down below. We appreciate it. Man, please make sure you keep liking and subscribing. Help us get to that 100,000 mark and then eventually the 1 million mark. We're going
Oh,
to catch up
yeah.
to you, Joe Rogan. All right, Matthew, topic at number one. Cade Cunningham is out with a collapsed lung. The Pistons star Cade Cunningham was diagnosed with a collapsed lung today after diving for a loose ball Tuesday night against the Washington Wizards. He's out at least 2 weeks, and Detroit is clinging to the East top seed at 49-19 record, with Boston only 3.5 games back. Matthew, can the Pistons hold the 1 seed without their best player?
Man, I don't think so. They were already slumping a little, losing a few games, falling behind their mark a little. And Cade Cunningham is one of those guys that, like, when he's on your team and he's the best player on your team, he is the team. So much of what they do revolves around him. He's their leading scorer. He's their leading playmaker, leading the team in assists. He's right up there in rebounds, blocks, steals. So much of what he does makes the team better. And you have so many players that are role players, very good role players. But, like, you take a player like Duncan Robinson. Well, who's good at getting him the ball? Cade Cunningham, so he can make the shot. You take a player like Jalen Duren, who's good at setting him up down low? Cade Cunningham. You have a lot of players that are very good, but they're good at their role. And I think they need a lead dog point guard, someone that's getting it to them in their spots, knows where they want the ball, knows how to make the team better. Because Cade Cunningham is a floor raiser, ceiling raiser. He's both.
Right.
He makes the team a lot better because he has such a unique skill set. He does so many things, and he's probably one of the, I don't want to say the best because I'm missing somebody, but probably one of the best playmaking point guards in the Eastern Conference for sure. 1, 2, or 3. I could think of a few different cats, but I think they are going to slide a little bit. Now, it'd be nice if you can see the other guys step up. Jalen Duren's a guy that whenever the Kings or the Spurs play the Pistons, the announcers are always so high on Jalen Duren. They always kind of talk about him like the second coming. Well, if he is, here's your chance, Jalen. Here's your chance to show what these announcers are talking about. Because it seems like basketball people really rank Jalen Duren really highly. So,
well, because being that you said that, I was going to say, so I was going to ask you, like, who has to change that role the most without Cade? Is it more of the guards they create, or does this become more of a defense and rebounding team for a month?
I mean, you got your all-star big man in Jalen Duren, but, like, can he do it without being set up by Cade? Because, like, Thompson is always going to be able to get his drive. His shot, just like his brother, is going to be shaky. I mean, he's very shaky, but, he's going to be able to get a few drives, get a few rim runs. You got a vet like Tobias Harris. I'm not sure if he's playing. I know he's missed a few games throughout the year, but you got a vet that at the very least isn't going to fold. On any given night will give you 15 to 20. But you just have so many players that you like when they're next to Cade, but I'm going to have to see how they do without their star point guard out there. And so it's an open question, but if you got 13 games left and you're the Pistons and you say Cade's going to miss all of them to get ready for the playoffs, you'd like to go at least 8-5 to feel good about going into the playoffs.
Yeah, because history usually says reevaluate it in 2 weeks. What that really means, he might miss like 10 to 11 games. So this just isn't a bruise. I mean, it could swing the number 1 seed and his awards case, on top of that. I mean, think about like CJ McCallum, Jared Wallace, etc. That's you're talking probably about 3 to 5 weeks, not a clean 2-week return window.
And he's only at 61 games. So if he misses the rest of the season, then he's out for any of the awards.
for the
And that's
rewards. Yep.
tough because he
Yep.
wouldn't have been MVP, but he would have been one of the finalists.
That's right.
He would have been all NBA for sure. He would have been a few different things. I don't know if he's quite good enough to make an all defensive team, but he definitely is going to lose out on some hardware he would have got otherwise. And I'm gonna be real, maybe I'm a fake basketball fan, but I'm looking at his backup, Danish Jenkins.
Yeah.
I don't know Mr. Jenkins. And but Mr. Jenkins is a huge opportunity. You remember in 2018-19 playoffs when Kyrie got injured for Boston, and that's when Terry Rozier first made a name for himself. So maybe if you're Mr. Danish Jenkins, maybe this is your Terry Rozier moment, because I don't think Rozier ever really lifted himself up to the highs of that first round series he had in the 2018-19 playoffs. But everybody knew Scary Terry after that, just because that good series that he had. So, if you're Danish Jenkins, here's your Scary Terry moment.
Right. There you go. All right. So listen, topic at number 2, LeBron James goes 13 of 14. He's the oldest player to drop 30 on 90% shooting. He just made NBA history at 41 years old, right? That's how old he is. His shooting last night against the Houston Rockets, he was tying the best single game field goal effort of his entire career. With him and Luka combined for 70 points, as the Lakers took the tiebreaker and stretched their win streak to 7. Matthew, is the Lakers duo right now the scariest combo in the league heading into the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, they're the scariest combo if you're a referee and you're refereeing their game tonight. Yeah, I mean, they're pretty scary because you're going to get an earful. But as far as like basketball goes, I don't see them beating the Thunder and I don't see them beating the Spurs. So unless they're the 3 or the 6 seed, I really don't see them advancing. I would favor OKC and the Spurs to gentlemen sweep them. Because I don't think they got the dogs all through the roster that those two teams have. And I think you're going to get, basically with LeBron, any record he sets, he's going to be the oldest just because he's the only 41-year-old doing it like he's doing it. So anytime, LeBron has 14 assists or anytime LeBron shoots 90% from the field, it's going to be, well, he's the oldest person to shoot 90%. Or he's the oldest person to have 14 assists. That's just because he's the only person. The only person I could think of that played in their 40s were Robert Parrish and Vince Carter, who by that point were just riding the pine. Parrish,
they're on a decline.
That's right. Robert Parrish riding the pine in Chicago, Vince Carter riding the pine in Memphis, Sacramento, Atlanta by the end. So basically, anytime LeBron gets a 20-point game, you could slap on it, LeBron, oldest person, get a 20-point game at so-and-so time. So, these records are losing a little bit for me, but 13 for 14 is still very impressive. But I think with these guys and yelling at the refs and stuff and Luka and his attitude, I think they're when they're on a winning streak, they're going to be front running a little bit. But how are Luka and DeAndre Ayton, who are always pouting, how are they going to do when they go down 2-0 in the first round to the Spurs or to OKC?
Yeah. So look, we already know what we're going to get out of Luka, right? That man can turn on any time, any night, right? But with LeBron, since turning 41, he's still around 25 points a night. I mean, he's miles ahead, like you said, what Kareem was averaged at 41. So to me, it's not just one hot game.
Yeah, I mean, it's not one hot. I mean, he's still very good. I was talking tongue in cheek, talking about them complaining at the refs, but you'd be delusional to say he's not still very good. And their winning streak is very impressive. I mean, besides the Pacers and the Bulls, they've beat like pretty much every mid-level playoff team in the West. They beat the Timberwolves. They beat the Rockets twice. They beat the Nuggets. So, if you're the Lakers, who are probably going to be the 4 seed or the 5 seed, maybe the 3 seed. I'd have to look at the standings. But you're probably going to play the Timberwolves, the Rockets, or the Nuggets. So if you're the Lakers and you say, okay, well, we beat these 3 cats that we're going to have to see in the postseason, you're getting hot at the right time. But to me, it doesn't really matter because you could win that first round. But the Nuggets and the Timberwolves are good enough to where even if they win it, which I think I would favor the other teams, but even if they won, it would go 6 or 7. It would be a bloodbath. Then just you get rewarded just by playing San Antonio or OKC in the next round. So I see a tough playoffs for them. I see them second round at the furthest, and I see a lot of Luka yelling at the ref and giving dirty looks to his teammates.
I look, so listen, so he's breaking efficiency records, right?
Yes, sir.
And on top of that, LeBron is carrying a team that's 10-1 in their last 11. Like Matthew, how do you game plan for something like that in the playoffs?
What you do is you find a way to break team chemistry by telling them, oh, LeBron, you need to be the ball handler. And then Luka getting upset because he has to play off ball. And then when Luka's on ball, LeBron being upset because he's off ball. Yeah, I think there's subtle ways where they might beat themselves. And if they don't, they can go pretty far. But sometimes when they're losing, you see they all seem to be upset, particularly Luka. But at various points, you see LeBron giving the stare to the teammates. Where when they get that stare, they're about to get shipped out. You've seen DeAndre Ayton basically take some plays off. The only guys that are playing hard every night are Rui and Austin. So
real quick before I forget this, right? Since you mentioned DeAndre Ayton, you remember we talked about a couple weeks ago? He said, "I'm not no Clinton Capella." Do you know that man must have caught some heat, right? Because he came back the other day and said, "Man, I just basically," I'm just paraphrasing. I forget what he exactly said. He basically said, "Man, I just realized I'm not the man. I just got to play my role, know my role."
Bro, I mean, if he could play the Clint Capella role, people would give him a lot of love, a lot of respect. Prime Clint Capella at points was like the third option on those red hot Houston teams. Like Prime Clint Capella was giving you like 16 and 10 on like 70% shooting. I mean, he had a great big man career. That's just not the right guy to hate on.
Especially when he got that little orange streak in his hair. That was it. That's when he changed.
I think that little blonde streak, he thought he was Wiz Khalifa.
Black and yellow, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right. Well, man, let's see how far Lakers. We're gonna mark down your prediction. You said they won't get past the second round,
and they'll be lucky to make it to the second round.
Oh, lucky on top of that.
Yeah, because they're gonna have to play the Nuggets, the Timberwolves, and I think the matchup that I would like them in is if they got to play the Rockets. But right now, I don't have the standings in front of me. I wish I should have been prepared. I should have had the standings in front of me.
Let me look. Which you want to see?
West? Right now, they're the 3 seed. Right now, they'd have to play the Nuggets. And the Nuggets are the 6 seed right now. And the Nuggets are a few games ahead of Phoenix. So it would be the Nuggets or maybe the Rockets. And I think the Rockets team chemistry looks like it's struggling, and it looks like nobody on that team can get a bucket except for KD when it matters. So I would probably favor the Lakers against the Rockets. I put them as underdogs against the Nuggets, even though the Nuggets have some problems with their bench. And I put them as underdogs against Minnesota if Ant-Man is healthy, because Ant-Man's a dog. Ant-Man's not going out in the first round. But if he's not healthy, then he's going to be too busy shooting videos with Obama, which I don't know if you saw that video, but I love that video.
I saw it, man. Hey, look, and Ant-Man talking about, what is this? He said, I think Connect 4. I think this is where you got to match 4 up in a row or something like that. Hey, look, hey, I don't know how many times they edited Obama shooting, but the way they made it look like he was just dropping buckets and dimes left and right.
Hey, he's always been a bucket since his days in the presidency. So, I mean, he's pulled up to events and drained one. There's a famous one, him draining it. This is what I do. That's what he said.
Yeah, he ain't shooting like no Steph, though, but he be all right.
Hey, man, he's pretty good for a 64-year-old.
Yeah. Is that how old he is now?
Yeah. You call me when you're 64 and tell me how good you're shooting the basketball.
Man, I'm not shooting it now. I'm 50-something. All right, Matthew. Moving on to topic number 3. I told you this a few weeks ago when they traded Kuminga over there to the Hawks. Atlanta just won their 11th straight game, torching Dallas 135-120 with 6 players scoring in double figures. They're sitting 8th in the East, but only a game and a half out of 5th. So, Matthew, are the Hawks the team nobody wants to see in the play-in tournament?
Oh, yeah. I mean, in the play-in tournament, yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, they're going to make it out if they're playing this way. But in the playoffs, I'm not too sure about that. Like right now, if they were in the play-in, no, Miami's good. The Sixers aren't that good. Charlotte's hot. I mean, there's Miami, Atlanta, and Charlotte are all hot in their own way. So I mean, the only team people might want to see is Philly, with Embiid injured and Paul George out and all them cats. But man, it's kind of weird because that back end of the Eastern Conference are all kind of hot right now. And you got some of the people that were hot early, like the Raptors and the Magic, slowing down. So, yeah, I mean, Jalen Johnson, because you could talk about Kuminga, but Jalen Johnson, Mr. Triple-Double, because Kuminga, he's played only a few of these games in this, what is it, a 12-game win streak?
Yeah. Well, Matthew, let me put it more like this. I know I was just harping on Kuminga, but listen, they're actually winning with a balanced scoring and tempo, right? Not just one guy going nuclear, but that translates better to the postseason, right?
Yeah, a lot better for the postseason. But, the thing I don't like about this team, and, you could call this a nitpick, but when you have a shooting guard out there that's just for defense, and in this case, it's Dyson Daniels, you remember some of these like just all-star level defenders like Matisse Thybulle or Andre Roberson that just become a complete liability in the playoffs because they can't shoot, because your big man can't shoot generally. And then you got a shooting guard. So you got two players that can't shoot. So you can't space in the playoffs, and then teams play for it. And so when you see their shooting guard, Dyson Daniels, who's, an all-world defender, but shooting 12% from three, you never
That's
like
so
that.
low.
You never like that on a balanced playoff roster. Although their center, Okongwu shooting 38% from three. So, maybe there's something to that. Maybe they're going to be able to space it out. But when you got a guy like Dyson that's playing 33 minutes a game, giving you 12% from the three, 61% from the free throw, you know who your liability is. You know who teams are going to be sagging off. And he's your best defender. But in important moments of the game, how much is he going to play? Or down the stretch, are they going to start fouling him? And because teams are going to try to get him out of there because they're not going to want him guarding their star player. So they look good right now. They're peaking at the right time, but you probably got some big questions come mid-April.
Right. So at this point, so even though Atlanta looks like a nightmare in the play-in matchup because they can throw like 5 to 6 double-figure scores at you any night, but are we actually overreacting to the 11-game hot streak? Is this just like one of those things, or is there some legitimacy to the 11-0 run?
No, there's some legitimacy. I mean, like you talk about balanced scoring. I mean, it's just crazy. Jalen Johnson, 23, 11, and 8, just a walking triple-double. CJ McCollum, you got the vet in the trade giving you 18 points a game. Alexander Walker giving you 20 points a game. I mean, you got different players that can get it. But in addition to the issue with Daniels not being able to shoot, who's your lead dog in crunch time? Like, because sometimes, like, you remember the Hawks, the Kyle Korver, Paul Millsap, Jeff Teague Hawks. When you have it, like, and to a lesser extent, maybe some of those Raptors teams with DeMar and Kyle Lowry, when you are getting buckets by committee and you don't have that lead dog, sometimes in crunch time, that can get awkward.
Right.
So if you say Jalen Johnson's your lead dog, then establish it right now. Start getting him the ball in the last 2 minutes and see if it opens up shots for other people. Yeah. But sometimes the by committee offense gets a little tricky in crunch time in the playoffs, and especially when defenses know what you want to do, when they start sagging off of Dyson Daniels, when they start locking in on certain players. You got to have your Ant-Man out there, someone that's not scared to go get a bucket. And we're going to have to see who that is for Atlanta in the final 2 weeks of the season.
Right. And Matthew, I'm looking at the stats here that we put out earlier. So right now, between the 7th and 10th, right? For 7th place right now, you got the Heat, you got the Atlanta Hawks, you got the 76ers, and you got the Hornets. Out of those three, the Heat, the 76ers, and the Hornets, who should Atlanta be most afraid of out of those three? I would probably have to say Charlotte.
Charlotte's been hot, but I think Charlotte's a flash in the pan. I mean, we're going to have to see, but they had the run. They're fun to watch, but you could see them getting shut down like over the course of a game, especially against a good defensive team like Atlanta, and kind of getting frustrated and start chucking some shots up, start missing. LaMelo start taking 35-foot Euro step 3-pointers, which, is fun to
Yeah.
watch, but might not be the most effective brand of basketball against a disciplined defensive team like Atlanta. So Charlotte, you would worry about? You'd worry if Charlotte came out like that game against the Jazz when they were up by 40, like in the first quarter. You worry if they come out hot. But if you could shut them down for a quarter, I think you can kind of take their soul and take them out of the game. So I don't think Charlotte. Miami, I'm trying to find my standings again. Miami might be interesting.
Miami right now is at number 7. But are you saying that? Listen, all they got is Bam putting up 83. He ain't gonna do that every night.
But you got a coach like Spoelstra that just knows how to win basketball games. That's
You
one
know, maybe you don't. Oh, we don't agree on that.
Look, man, this guy is 38 and 31 with a roster full of players. I mean, I want to tell you this. Like, I was talking. I was in Dallas the other day, and I was hanging out with a buddy that's in sports radio, and he's prominent radio guy on 105.3 The Fan up there. And
did he tell you how well we're doing, Matthew? He said, "Man, you and Sean are killing it."
He didn't say that. He didn't say that.
He need to.
I'm gonna tell you what he said. We were playing a game, and the game was, can you name 2 players besides Bam that played in the Heat game, that played in that game that aren't Bam? Can you name 2 players? And, we said Khalil Ware, but he wasn't playing that game. We said Norman Powell. He wasn't playing that game. We said Jaquez. We said Wiggins. They weren't playing. This guy, who's a big sports radio guy, and me, who's a basketball guy, and my other buddy, we couldn't name a single other Heat player. And that's remarkable. And maybe it means I'm a fake fan. Maybe it means he's a fake sports radio guy. But the fact that people that follow sports all the time couldn't name a single other Heat player, and Spoelstra's got this lineup to 38 and 31, that's remarkable. He's a remarkable coach. So you can never count out the Miami Heat. And I think the Miami Heat are also peaking at the right time. I haven't looked it up. You see, they won 7 in a row before they lost their last 2. So Miami's a team that's peaking. That's looking pretty good right now. So you never count them out. Philly, it looks like Philly stumbling to the finish, like that guy in the New York Marathon the other day that was first place the whole time, but then at the very end he got passed, and then he passed out. That's Philly right now. They're that guy passing out before the finish line. So you'd say Atlanta's the favorite. If the play-in is like the 4 teams now, Atlanta's the favorite. I don't think they want to see Miami. I think Charlotte's not ideal, but if you got to play them, you got to play them. And I think you'd want to see the 76ers, who are gassing and limping to the finish line.
Yeah, you know what? When your friend asked you that from that sports radio, I'm shocked that you didn't say Tyler Hero, because that's the only other name I know.
He didn't play.
Honestly, he didn't play that night?
We were talking about that game, and Tyler Hero didn't play.
Okay. So, listen, honestly, I don't really hear nobody talking about Tyler Hero now that after Jimmy Butler left. It's like they really only talked about Tyler when it was him and Jimmy really carrying the team. And Bam was like more or less that third man backup, I got you type player. But I hear more about Bam now than I hear about Tyler Hero. Besides that little scrapping fight. Who was that he was trying to fight the other day? He got in a little scrapper fight with somebody, but he ain't go nowhere.
He never does. He just makes this little snarl. He just makes that little look at them.
Yeah.
What about you, Sean? Can you name 2 players from that game, that night, that played from Miami? I'm telling you, it's tough.
What's that one tall guy, white guy? Said Jovic? How do you say
he
his
didn't
name?
play. I
didn't
guessed
play
him
either?
too. He didn't play either.
Who? Khalil.
I'm gonna tell you.
You said Khalil didn't play. Tyler Hero didn't play.
Khalil, Norman Powell, Jovic, and Tyler Hero all didn't play.
They were out.
They were all them 4 were all out. So there's one obvious one, or one easy-ish one. Then there's one harder one, and then everybody else is like, you got to be watching the Heat.
Yeah,
so
I don't know that.
I'm gonna tell you, Jaime Jaquez and Davion Mitchell. Then beyond that, some of these guys, Vladislav Golden, Kashad Johnson, these are guys from like the Chuck segment, the who he play for. Like, it's just, it's a tough roster. You know, we watch basketball. We talk about basketball.
Yeah.
The Kings and the Spurs have played the Heat, but I didn't remember a lot of these cats from watching the games.
Hey,
So
hey, Matthew, bruh, that is the most funniest line you've ever said since we've been on here, bruh. Charles Barkley is getting paid millions of dollars, like what, 20 million a year to be analyst. Like, who that guy play for? What's his name?
But the thing is, it's charming when he does it, and he's got
Yeah,
character and he's got personality. When you're up and coming, trying to talk about basketball on a
sure.
podcast, and we don't know the guys, and they're like, oh man, why am I listening to these cats? They don't
Yeah,
even
yeah,
they
yeah.
don't even know the roster.
Yeah, they don't know the roster either. Nobody knows the Heat roster.
Nobody does. Pell Larson.
Pell Larson. Jeez.
What do we know about Pell Larson? I don't know much.
Yeah, that's like asking me. Who is Pritchard on the Boston Celtics,
Hey, he's
or
pretty good
who's
though.
or who's like Reed Shepard. It's like those little small guys, those small little white guys that nobody don't be remembered.
They're smaller than that, though. I mean, like I could tell you Peyton Pritchard in a heartbeat. I could tell you Reed Shepard. I mean, they get a lot
Yeah,
of press these days because, playing on the Celtics and playing with KD and the Rockets. But you don't hear much about Myron Gardner or Pell Larson on the news every day. There's not every day they pop up on ESPN.
yep, got you. All right, Matthew, we're gonna move on to topic number 4. The Thunder has hit 10 straight wins. They're now 55-15. So look, they blew out the Brooklyn the other day. It's not saying too much blowing out Brooklyn, right? But still, it was like 121-92 last night to extend their streak to 10 and clinch a playoff spot. They're the first team in the league to punch their ticket. And they're doing all this without Jalen Williams, who's been out since February with a hamstring injury. So, Matthew, is there any real threat to the Thunder in the West when they do get Jalen back and they get healthy?
I mean, first of all, I don't think there's any guarantee that you get Jalen back fully healthy. So, I mean, he's played 26 games this year. That
Mm-hmm.
tells you that even if he comes back, there's definitely some risk of re-injury, and especially because he's going to have to come back in some like intense late April playoff setting. And it's how you remember when Westbrook was on Houston and he was tearing up the league, and then he injured his quad, then he came back in the
Yeah.
bubble, and he was pretty bad because it's hard to reacquaint yourself to the game in the playoffs because defenses are locking in the playoffs. The coaches are scheming on certain people. Like it's a whole different animal from the regular season. So it's just hard to get your sea legs under you in the playoffs. But the other thing is, like, they could probably win, honestly, without him. I don't think that's that crazy of a thing to say. I mean, they've won like an ungodly amount of basketball games in a row. I don't have it right in front of me, but they've won like 9. I want to no, more than 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They've won 10 in a row, and they've won
Yeah, that's
13
what
of
I'm
their
saying.
last
Yeah,
14.
that's why I said they extended the streak to 10. And
And
that's
they're
how they
not
clinched that playoff spot.
and they're not playing scrub, Sean, like the
Oh,
Timberwolves,
yeah.
the
Uh-huh.
Celtics, the
Yeah.
Nuggets, the Knicks,
Yeah.
the Nuggets again, the Cavaliers. So in that 13 to 14, I mean, they're playing some dogs in there. So do they even need Jalen Williams? But that's not the point, because whether they have him or don't have him, and I know we're going to talk about them, there's only going to be one threat to their title, and it ain't coming out the East, especially with the best team in the East struggling right now. No, it's coming out the West. It's coming right here in San Antonio,
That's the
Texas.
Spurs. Yeah,
Victor
that's what I was about to
Wembanyama.
ask you. Yeah, I was about to say, is there any team in the West that actually wants OKC in the second round? Or is the only real threat a healthy veteran team like Denver or the surging Spurs?
I think Denver is going to have a tough time because they really don't have a bench. And outside of maybe Hardaway Jr., I think everybody on that bench that was supposed to make up for the production when Westbrook and MPJ left,
Mm-hmm.
they were supposed to develop Jalen Pickett as a
Yep.
point guard, and he's been DNP coach's decision most
Uh-huh.
of this year. Bruce Brown was supposed to be good for them because he was good for them in their championship run. And I
Yep.
swear, every time I log on to Nuggets Twitter, because I follow a lot of those Nuggets Twitter guys from when Westbrook was there,
Yeah.
they're always complaining about Bruce Brown. It sounds like the Bruce Brown reunion has not gone the way it was supposed to. I really think Russ and the Nuggets needed each other, but there were egos that kept them apart because he definitely lost
Okay.
them some games with some boneheaded plays, but he won them a lot of games. And I
Right.
want to say, if I'm not mistaken, they're guaranteed to have a worse record than last year. So I think having a dog like Russ on the bench was pretty helpful to them. But, egos got in the way. They didn't want him back, and he didn't want to be where he wasn't wanted. So the
And, and,
Nuggets
and
are,
Matthew, and Matthew, let me say this before you switch about Westbrook. Even though you said he lost him some games, right? Well, I'm gonna tell you what I really love about Russell, and I think people should teach this in sports basketball today, from AAU to the YMCA's or whatever you play, right? Every time people will yell at him when he blew an easy layup or shot a crazy looking air ball, right? That man, when he made that mistake, he would give you 150% back on defense and hustle to make up for that play.
yeah, I mean, he's got an impossible motor. I mean, people don't even realize like how good his motor really is, and how at
Yeah.
37, the way I mean, at 37 still averaging 15, 7, and 6. I mean, guy's a dog, and the Nuggets
Hmm.
bench is really struggling.
Yeah.
Um, but I think the issue there, and I've said it in previous shows, I don't think the new coach, he's a young coach, David Adelman. I don't
Hmm.
think he wanted a lead dog kind of alpha in the locker
Hmm.
room like Westbrook to challenge him. And Westbrook on his end wouldn't accept that some nights he was only going to play 15, 18 minutes. So I just think they couldn't meet in the middle. And it's a shame because I think they would have helped each other. And I think the Nuggets are really going to struggle this playoffs. I think they could win a series or two, but anything they win is going 6 or 7 games. And it's just because once you take Jokic out of the game, and especially if Jamal Murray's struggling, that point differential is going down, down, down. So,
Yeah.
I don't think the Thunder are worried too much about the Nuggets. I don't think they're worried about the Lakers. I certainly don't think they're worried about Houston. Minnesota, that's my dark horse, but
Uh-huh.
the OKC, of course, would be a favorite. But the Spurs were 3-1 against OKC in the regular season. And I think one of those games, OKC wasn't playing the starters. You call it what it is. You call it 2-1, whatever. But they had a winning record against OKC in the regular season. Now, sometimes with the young team that hasn't taken their licks yet in the playoffs, you expect them to lose one. Like the
Yeah.
Nuggets, the Bucks, all them guys that ended up winning a championship. They lost a couple before they got there. But
Uh-huh.
Wemby's a special talent. I don't think it's guaranteed that the Spurs have to lose one before they
Okay.
get there. And I know we're going to talk about that soon. But yeah, I think the only team that can challenge them in the whole league is the San Antonio Spurs.
Right, right, with San Antonio. And look, Matthew, and being that they're the first team to clinch, while you're still kind of like patching the rotation, usually screams like they're a real contender, right? But the question is, do they have that one veteran gear for when May and June comes? And I know we're the defending champions and they won it before, but coming out of the West, you know how hard it is to repeat back to back wins like that. Do they
Yeah,
have that one gear, that one veteran gear to help them for that May and June to close it out?
I mean, SGA, I mean, that's your guy. What you have is, I mean, he's a veteran in this league, but it don't matter. You have your lead dog. You have your guy, like in that Nuggets game the other day, tie ball game, 125, 125, that's going to go make you that crazy 3-pointer. Like you have your lead dog. So, yeah, I mean, you have the pieces around him. You have the good role players. You got a good big man in Chet. You got a good sixth man, seventh man in Caruso. You got a good co-star in Jalen Williams if he's playing. Like they have every piece that you want on a championship team. And you have this, that they've done it before. They've been there before. They've already won it. The first one's the hardest,
Hmm.
as they say. And so they've got that gear, and they've got
Right.
that guy that when it's 95 to 95 and you need to stop like playing as a unit and you need to have your one guy go get you that instant offense, you have that in SGA. And even if he doesn't get it, they're going to blow the whistle and give him the foul call anyway. So, but that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, I think you got that guy, you got your team. And I certainly think, even though I'm telling you that San Antonio has a chance, I certainly think that OKC's the favorite right now to win it all.
Right, right. Got you. Okay. All right. So we're going to move on to topic number 5. Del Curry's jersey goes to the rafters tonight. The Hornets are retiring Del Curry's number 30 tonight against Orlando. Only the second number Charlotte has ever hung up joining Bobby Fields, number 13. Dell is the franchise second all-time scorer and the 1994 Sixth Man of the Year. Matthew, what does Dell Curry mean to the history of basketball in Charlotte?
I mean, he means a lot. He played a bunch of seasons there. He's probably the best 3-point shooter in their history. He's their current color commentator on the broadcast with Eric Collins. So, like, I mean, obviously he's a Charlotte dude. He played good years there. He's the commentator there. And you could think of it as like a lifetime achievement award because, his play was good, solid, Sixth Man of the Year once and always in the running. The whole time he was in Charlotte, he was in the Sixth Man of the Year running. He was the best 3-point shooter in the league at different points. And of course, he's your broadcaster, so it's like a lifetime thing. He did this, he did this. But his name is Wardell Stephen Curry. His son's name is Wardell Stephen Curry. And I don't think that if you don't have the second one, that you get the retirement for the first one. Now, you would do all kinds of things. You would have his plaque up in the radio booth. You'd have his plaque in the broadcaster's booth. You would have him at dinners in his honor. But would you necessarily have his jersey getting retired if he wasn't Steph Curry's dad? I don't think so.
And that's the thing, Matthew. So for like the young fans, Dell Curry is just Steph's dad. But in Charlotte, he's the bridge from Muggsy to Larry Johnson, LJ, to Alonzo, to the modern Hornets now.
Yeah, I mean, certainly, but usually players that are like a bridge, aren't necessarily getting their jersey retired. I don't think like in Indiana, they got Rick Smith's jersey retired or like in San Antonio, we don't have, we had a bunch of like random fan favorites. We might have a couple of their jerseys retired. I could be tired. I don't know if we got Avery Johnson's jersey retired. Sometimes you're a fan favorite enough to get in there and you're a bridge player and you took the team from a poverty franchise to a great franchise. But let's remember, the Charlotte Hornets aren't a great franchise. It's not like he was a bridge to greatness. He might have been like that bridge in Alaska, that bridge to nowhere. Like, I mean, they ain't never been like a great franchise. So even if you want to give him that, he was a bridge to this great era. Well, what was he a bridge to? He was a bridge to 34 and 48.
Yeah, well, listen, retiring Dell's number 30 isn't just about like nostalgia, right? It's Charlotte saying this is the guy who gave our franchise like a personality before the titles or the headlines.
Man, even when he was there, now that may be true. And, he's a good dude. You hear him on the broadcast. He's a funny guy. He's got great chemistry with Eric Collins. Yeah. They're one of the best broadcasting duos in the league. So, yeah, but, there's a lot of people like that in this world. There's a lot of people that have come through San Antonio where I've said, like, he's a funny character. And, they average 11 points a game. You never think about them again. So he did a lot for the team. He was one of the best 3-point shooters of his era. Not the best because, he played in the same era as Reggie Miller. He never led the league in 3-point percentage. So he was always up there. I mean, he was a guy in the 90s shooting 40% from three. Now, look, here's his numbers in Charlotte from 89 to 98. Okay. He played 701 games for Charlotte. Mm-hmm. He averaged 14 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 46% shooting, 41% from three, 85% from the free throw line. Right. So, 700 games, that's good. He was there. They made the playoffs a couple times. Fun player. Jersey retirement? Maybe if they'd won a chip in his era, maybe if they'd won a couple chips in there, because you can give that fun jersey retirement. Like,
wait a minute. Are you saying they giving this to him because of Steph Curry?
I'm saying it's a part of it. It's not the whole thing. Like it's not like it's not like Bronny. Like it's not like that where there's a huge influence of the family member. It's not like Giannis's brothers where it's like a huge, because those guys can play in the NBA, but it's like 10 to 20% them, 80% famous. Now, like Del Curry is like a good player in his own right, but he's not a great player. And they didn't.
You want to have Steph and Steph come for you, boy.
No. Like, I mean, he's a good player, a great 3-point shooter, but they didn't win in his era. They didn't win championships. So it's like, like the Spurs have Sean Elliott's jersey retired, and he's like a similar role to Dell, where he was one of our fan favorites in the 90s, and now he's the broadcaster Now he's the color commentator on Spurs games. So it's like a similar role to Dell, but with like Sean Elliott, you can say, oh, well, he won us a game. He won the Memorial Day Miracle against the Blazers that won us a playoff series in our championship runs. You can say, okay, he's our fan favorite. He's our broadcaster. We won a championship, and he hit a big shot that led to that championship. And he also, I think, got his, missed some games because he had kidney problems. He had to get a transplant. So he had the feel-good story too. So you take a player like that on a championship team, then you're like, okay, we can retire your jersey. Del Curry, good player, great three-point shooter, good broadcaster, Hall of very good Hornets, but I think being Steph's dad and the fact that it's happening, at the tail end of Steph's career tells you, I think there's a little, it gave him that push. Maybe he was 80% there. Being Steph's dad certainly helped him. That's all I'm saying.
Got you. Okay. All right. All right. So, Matthew, we're going to finish this with our last topic. Topic number 6. The Spurs are 19-2 since February the 1st, chasing OKC for that number 1 seed. So, the franchise, that's their best stretch since 2015, 2016. And they just set a franchise record with 25 threes against your team, Sacramento with Westbrook. And Wemby says he wants 60 wins to make up for his rookie year. So, Matthew, are the Spurs a legit threat to catch OKC, or are they locked into the number 2 seed?
They'll get 60 for sure. They just got to go 9-4 to get 60. And they're 19-2 in their last 21. I don't think they're going to catch up to OKC in the standings because OKC is winning games too. So OKC is like 3 games ahead of them, and they're not losing games. So I don't think OKC is going to lose enough games for the Spurs to catch up. But they are certainly a legit contender. I would pick them if they made it out of the West. I'd pick them over Detroit. I'd pick them over Boston. I think the Knicks maybe give them the most trouble. But that game I watched the other day against the Kings, I know it was the Kings, but that was total belt to ass. That's what you call BTA. I mean, that game was over before the 6 minutes in, the Spurs were up by like 57 points. I mean, it was, Westbrook and them boys, they look sad as hell because they were just getting total belt to ass. And the Spurs
because they're not just winning, right? They were bombing like 25 threes with 40 plus assists. Like, this looks more like the number 1 seed profile than just a cute young team.
They're playing so good and so cohesive on offense. Fox is getting his shots. Like, there's points in the game where Fox is playmaking, getting his spots. Castle is so much better than anyone expected. Champagny hitting in them corners, hitting threes. Keldon Johnson coming off the bench and some nights just dropping a cool 20 for you. I mean, you've got so many weapons on that team. You've got a competent backup for Wemby for the first time in his career in Luke Cornett. I mean, every role is filled, whether your 6 man is Keldon, your good backup big is Luke Cornett, your star player is Wemby, your lead dog point guard is De'Aaron Fox, your young rim runner, Stephon Castle, that can also play make. He had 12 assists the other day against the Kings. I mean, you've got everybody playing a role. Champagny stretching the floor. The only thing I don't like is sometimes Wemby kind of disappears on offense, where his defensive impact is so immeasurable, just the way he keeps people out of the post, how they don't even want to get layups and dunks when he's there. Sometimes he disappears for long stretches on offense. Sometimes he starts forcing up 3-pointers, and you start thinking like, oh, that's not going in. So I like Wemby being more aggressive, getting to the rim, because when he's getting to the rim, I mean, he's just putting up so many crazy shots, and all of them are dropping. He's drawing fouls. You don't like him. I know some people don't like him banging too much down there because he's skinny. He looks like he's going to get hurt, but he's a big man. He's got to play down low. I don't like Wemby disappearing on offense, and I would hate to see him have a prolonged offensive drought in an OKC series. But that's one of the only things I could see hurting them if Wemby has a drought.
Yeah. And Matthew, aren't they doing this without Dylan Harper right now? Didn't he get hurt like a week ago?
Yeah, he hasn't been playing, but it's only been a couple games, so they should have him back soon. I don't
just look at that threat, coming from that angle, because he can heat it up sometimes.
But even with him, They don't really necessarily need him. Like
But he's a good backup when it's dealing with the bench and stuff.
he's a good backup, but there's so many guards that
Yeah.
it's almost some of the games they're like forcing 20 minutes for him because
Okay.
Castle and Fox got it going. You're finding time for your wings, you know, Champagny and Barnes, Keldon, and so at some point you're alternating Castle and Fox playing point guard because they can both play point guard, and you're just trying to find like 20 minutes for Harper in some kind of hybrid combination of the two guard and the point guard. So you certainly like having as many weapons as you can, and it's a good problem to have. But they almost have like
Are you saying they're having too many weapons?
Well, I
him?
mean, they almost have too many guards. They almost, too many good guards because there's only so many minutes to go around, and you have 3 quality guards. And I think of the 3, Harper draws the short end of that stick, where a lot of people might have thought it would have been Castle at the beginning of the season, but Castle been playing his ass off, man.
So you thinking the way this is going, you think Harper might be traded for maybe like a stronger like power forward, small forward type?
I'm not saying that yet. I'm not saying any because he's a weapon. He's a weapon for sure. But it feels like they're forcing his minutes sometimes. Like they know he has to play. He's the second pick. Because he plays less minutes than Keldon. Like Harper's not even the 6th man. And arguably, because it's important to have a competent backup big for Wemby, arguably he's our 3rd most important bench player. And I don't think a lot of people would have predicted that at the beginning of the season. So it's a good problem to have, but you do have a lot of guards.
All right. So Matthew, with that, the Spurs, they don't even see OKC again this year, and OKC has like 1 fewer game left on the schedule, right? So San Antonio probably has to outplay them by a couple games the rest of the way to steal the number 1 seed.
I don't think they're going to steal the number 1 seed, but I don't think it matters. I think you'll end up with that series in the 3rd round if both the teams do what they're supposed to do, and I don't know that it's going to come down to home court advantage because both of those are good teams. You could see them stealing games. So whether it's an OKC or San Antonio, it's going to be a competitive series. It's going 6 or 7, probably 7. So I don't know that home court advantage is going to make the difference because I don't think they're going to catch up.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, there you have it. Listen, we had a great segment here. We covered a lot of topics. Matthew, what do you want to say to our fans in closing?
Well, I was excited. I see we got our Instagram followers to 4 digits, so it's it's baby steps, but I appreciate everyone tapping in. Some of the comments are a little mean sometimes, but that's okay because any engagement is good engagement. So thanks for listening.
There you have it. Like you said, thanks for like just making our Instagram or TikTok is going up, our YouTube, Facebook is all going up. So we appreciate everything y'all do for us. Make sure y'all keep liking and subscribing. And as always, we will be back Monday at 8 o'clock on the next live stream. Listen, make sure y'all chime in, chip in, drop some comments down below in the live streaming chat, right? So we'll throw up on the screen and answer any questions y'all got. Till next time, Matthew, we signing out. Peace.